This is Chit's chair. It's made of real leather. The only one of its kind in the department. She bought it with her own hard-earned money. And if you knew how much a UP faculty member received for salary, Chit once wrote, you would weep. I asked her once why she spent money on a chair, albeit the most comfortable in the office, and she laughed and said, "Ha? Wala, para komportable, para magandang upo." And she laughed again, like the real answer was a secret. But I'd like to think it was because Chit was the kind of person who liked to sit back, take a long, hard look before finalizing any work. She would make a rewrite, a third revision, a fourth edit before rushing to judge or before setting out to publish. She did not need fancy gizmos and multi-layered operating systems. The software was in her head. She did not need branded clothes and jewelry to face people, just tasteful, fine textile, dainty crystals, and clear, luminescent skin. A good back support with her ergonomic chair and impeccable research was all she needed for her and her colleagues to set up the pioneering Vera Files. The Vera Files broke the story of the questionable properties of the Arroyo brothers in California, the fertilizer fund scam, and the anomalous broadband deal. And this is Chit's room. I ran to Chit to this room whenever I had questions about media issues, about the big words like hegemony, or whenever I was simply peeved with some bureaucratic requirement. She always made me see the essence of things. Most of the time I complained about numbers. For example, when we were computing the numbers required for the candidates for Professor Emeritus for retiring faculty, I showed her how a faculty gets 10 points for this, 2 points for that, for all of her life's hard work. And I raised my hands to the sky and said something like, is this what one's life is reduced into? 2 points for this, 10 points for that. Is that what one's life was worth? And she went over it and pleaded and said softly, why does everybody get 100 points for a book, regardless of whether that book had an impact on society or whether it was about something trivial? Shouldn't they examine the book or consider whether that work made a difference in the lives of many people based on reported accounts? Or why does everybody get the same points as official, regardless of whether that official did well or did not do well as administrator? And that was it. Brilliant. She saw what I could not see. Chit was able to articulate to me in the clearest terms what I could only whine about, and she had that ability. And when I brought this argument up with the dean, he said, good, let's bring this up with the cluster committee, and I did, and the people there agreed that in addition to the point system, there should be some qualitative discussion on the nature of the work that was being submitted. We get drowned in numbers, and Chit was able to make me look beyond the numbers and see meanings, see the underlying premises behind those numbers, and how those could be questioned, should be questioned. Very sharp. To some, administrative work may seem clerical, but Chit always had the patience to listen to my petty travails. She never closed the door on me. Many have written about how an excellent journalist she was, but people often forgot how Chit was the best listener and the best processor of a litany of booze. She would just let you talk and tell your story, and if you ask advice, that's when she processes it for you. Next. And these are the poster paintings on a calendar behind Chit's leather swivel chair. Dead revolutionary Filipino poets, Eman Lacaba, Romulo Sandoval, Lorena Barros, Amado Hernandez, Carlos Bulosa. In one of our last conversations in fact, we were talking about Van Gogh's chair. I think we were talking about the Inquirer's layout, and conversation meandered to food photography, then to paintings. That was how conversations went with Chit. Comfortable. We talked about death casually because we meant to live well and long. I once told her how I've been meaning to write my will and haven't done it, and she said, do that now. Don't postpone it. And I did. I wrote it. She taught me most not to postpone what was important. Endless conversations about life, restaurants, newspaper layouts, hidden wealth of politicians about living and death, but never meaning to die. I once told her I dreamt of a dead person, or that whenever the dream wasn't logical, like a dream of being a student in AS again, lining up for enrollment, getting confused and waking up. She told me, no, that's not true. She said, your subconscious is your clearest, truest sense of what you have in mind. And that's how I was able to process all those ideas. You could say Chit had an informal, unpaid career as guidance counselor, psychoanalyst, rehabilitator, maybe even therapist. And she was generous with her insight.